Companies are likely to see risks emerging on a number of fronts due to climate change impacts, particularly in a region like Southeast Asia, which has been identified as a climate change hotspot. The risks could be physical, to your actual buildings, your operations on the ground. The risks could come from regulatory requirements. If companies are not prepared for that now, that could be a huge cost to the companies later on down the line.
Climate change is it's going to affect food prices, we're seeing that. It's going to affect the price of gasoline, the price of petrol, we're seeing that. It's going to affect the price of water. And of course, we're seeing increasing costs when it comes to shelter, because land is becoming more and more scarce.
It's really easy to understand why you've got to have Asian government leaders addressing climate change, because almost all of the growth in greenhouse gases that cause the problem is coming from Asia. The problem is that there just isn't enough space in the atmosphere to accommodate a fossil fuel-based lifestyle for the world's population, which means that we have to change the lifestyle. And that gets to the question of, why do you need business leadership?
I suppose the program that we're running here is precisely aimed at those business leaders who are realizing that this is emerging as an issue. And so they are wanting the opportunity to explore it in all its complexity, all its difficulty, to see what innovation is happening in other parts of the world and to see what is applicable in their context.
So we developed this program to ensure that it had three components to it. Firstly, the knowledge component. This is important because in order to make informed decisions within your company on how to transform your business model to adapt to climate change, you need the facts. Secondly, climate change presents highly unpredictable and disruptive change, which needs to be managed and anticipated. Scenario planning provides one tool by which companies can do this. So the program gives delegates the ability to be able to experience how to take on scenario planning and exercise it within your company. Thirdly, leadership. And this is perhaps the most important element of this program.
I think one important part of this program has been the leadership component, appealing to their sense of what is good, not just for their business, but for the communities in which they're in, what is also good for their business in the medium to long term and not just the present. If climate change follows the trajectory that it's on right now, there may not be very much room for their business to operate.
The essence of the issue is that none of them can deal with it on their own. This is both a transboundary issue across countries as well as a trans-sector issue across business, government and civil society. And unless we can find ways to collaborate despite all the differences, we're not going to find solutions to many of these problems.
None of us will individually or separately as a sector gain when things continue to be worse in the way our ecosystem works. We know now more than ever before that if pollution is occurring in East Asia, it is equally going to affect what is happening in Africa and the Western world.
Clearly, we need to be talking about what our patterns of consumption are. And it doesn't have to be a discussion about you must consume less, you must do less. But it does need to be, how efficient is our consumption? What are the ways in which we measure our own self-worth? And that's a conversation that in the younger generation is already happening globally, but it's got to happen among the leadership as well.
So leading change in this kind of situation requires you to be bold, it requires you to be innovative, and it requires you to have insights that allow you to make the kind of case and arguments that convince people that this is a journey that they should go on.